Many in conservative media historically have a pretty shaky relationship with the concept of consent and how important getting consent is before engaging in any sort of sexual activity. But Rush Limbaugh, one of the old guard of the conservative media, has decided to take it a step further and is now declaring war on the very idea of consent in the first place. Let's listen.
How ironic, then, that a culture which rejects moral standards, and make no bones, folks, we do. Standards, moral standards. You stand up for moral standards, you're going to be mocked and laughed out of the rooms. You know what the magic word, the only thing that matters in American sexual mores today is one thing. You can do anything. The left will promote and understand and tolerate anything as long as there is one element. Do you know what it is? Consent. If there is consent on both or all three or all four, however many are involved in the sex act, it's perfectly fine, whatever it is. But if the left ever senses and smells that there's no consent in part of the equation, then here come the rape police. But consent is the magic key to the left.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
Here come the rape police just because someone got raped.
And, the liberals, they're going around saying you should breathe oxygen. Yeah, that's right. And that's how we stay alive. And if you have sex with someone without their consent, well, that's the definition of rape, and hence we would send in the rape police.
Rape police right there.
The Democrats hear that somebody got murdered, and they send in the police.
the murder police.
You just described rape. That was rape that you described.
Not only did
there aren't rape police, but if there are, that's when they should get on the job. When someone's been raped by your own description.
Not only did he describe rape, he described it in a rapey voice. Right. He's like, oh, if you come in here and have sex with someone without their consent. Especially if you do it in that voice. Yes.
I was sure when he said there's one thing the libs want. I thought it was going to be like a German Shepherd or something. He said consent. Is it possible he's joking in some sort of meta way that we don't understand? No. I don't think he is.
No, it is possible.
Everything he said there is true and accurate and how a person should actually conduct themselves. If there's consent, then you can do anything you want sexually. That's exactly how we should run our sexual lives, whether there's 2 or 3 or 4 people. Maybe it's weird, maybe it's taboo, maybe it's a little bit painful at first. As long as everyone's consenting, it is A-okay.
No, so that goes to the heart of the difference of how conservatives and liberals view morality. And this is borne out by studies of human beings. That we're sometimes born this way with different way of perceiving the world. And so conservatives have different sets of things that they consider to be more important morally. Among them are dogmatic rules and tradition. So for them, if tradition says it is immoral to have really great sex with 2 different women at the same time, they're like, wow, that is super immoral, right? Mm-hmm. But wait, did you all have a great time? Yes. Did anyone get hurt? No. Should it be anybody else's business? No, but it doesn't matter. Tradition told me that was immoral.
Yeah.
Why did tradition tell you that? Because they wanted you to reproduce and have a bigger army against the Canaanites 2,000 years ago, and hence they didn't want you to have gay sex. They wanted you, or premarital sex, they wanted to get you married at 13 or 15 and reproduce so you can beat the Canaanites. But it doesn't, to them, it doesn't matter. The definition of morality is tradition.
Yeah.
So when you say, for us, we live in the rational world. So we say, okay, we should actually guide ourselves not by old traditions, by if it hurts someone else or if it doesn't, a sense of justice, fairness, etc.
Yeah.
And they view that as like liberal, cares about fairness. Who would care about, what kind of immoral guy would care about fairness and justice? No. And logic. You depraved souls.
And he started that by saying, you get laughed at if you stand up for moral standards. and then goes on a rant against people having a say in whether someone has sex with them. If you don't have that standard, I don't know what standard you have.
To your earlier question as to why he might have said this, one, this is their moral code. And that's why we heartily disagree. That's why we have this disagreement. Because to me, that is mental, where you think, well, just forcing yourself on a woman with no consent is not that big a deal, right? I mean, because I'm in charge. So, and that is part of my tradition. The man is in charge and the woman should be subservient. So, hello, you knuckleheads, that's the moral thing to do. Well, to us, we find that, yes, you're right, Rush, we find that deeply immoral. When you impinge upon someone else's liberty, freedom, humanity, yes, we find that immoral. But to them, freedom is the ability to dominate you and to lord over you. And so they feel like, hey, now you're requiring consent. You're taking my freedom away.